afternoon and welcome to Nigeria Now, where we look at happenings in the country. Do remember to drop your comment and your views on Facebook as well as on YouTube. I am Salen Laishid Hashem, of course, helping the program alongside Rachel Tansy. Good afternoon,
Afternoon,
Rachel.
Sally.
All right, let us dive straight into the matters that we would love to discuss for today. And we know that we're still having the issue of wealth being the top topic on the lips of almost every Nigerian. And we are saying that the reps minority are actually calling on the NNPCL to do something concerning the price of the PMS, telling them to actually reduce the price. And we started the conversation yesterday where we saw Labour as well calling on the government to do something about the price. And as well, we are also seeing the reps minority talking about the fact that with the hardship already going on, it's really, really not fair on Nigerians, looking at the fact that presently the fuel is not even available, number one. Secondly, is the fact that the price of the petrol is very high. We're seeing that, looking at the fact that it's about 1,000 naira to a liter, depending on where you're buying it, whether you're living close to where it's being landed, which is Lagos. I guess that's the state that is getting it cheaper than any other part of the country. But we're seeing that the issue of fuel is something that I think this is a conversation that we're going to be having almost on a daily basis right now until we have a little change coming from the NNPCL. Of course, we saw where the federal government is saying that they did not ask the NNPCL to increase that. But then we know the way the market is. There's so many factors that actually at play here. So it's just not about pointing a finger and saying this is it. But then here we're seeing a request coming from the reps minority, talking about the fact that there is a need for the NNPCL to do something about the price of the petrol presently. Because we're also seeing operational private sector complaining. We're seeing the TUC complaining. So many bodies are beginning to rally around. And we also saw where Labour is saying that with the way things are going, possibilities that they might actually strike. So it's quite a lot to chew. But I mean, it's a conversation that no matter how difficult it is for us to have, we just must have this conversation concerning the issue of the petrol. And of course, nobody's left out. It's affecting almost everybody. As far as you, in fact, even if you're walking from your home to the office, whether you like it or not, you must buy something, and eventually the price of petrol, which will translate to transportation, would definitely affect you. So this is a very difficult, but then we must just have this conversation.
Salah, even when we were paying subsidy as a country, fuel pump price was never consistent. There was never an administration. There was never a time in Nigeria that we went all through the year without petrol pump price going high. It has never happened. Even when we were paying subsidy, we still had fuel pump price increasing. It goes from 60 to 65 naira to 70 to 80 naira, 83 naira, 82. When we had more licensed market sellers than the black market, we have everybody is licensed. But when we had more of the registered and the bigger distributors like Total and Mobile, and then it was much later we started even having the NNPCL mega filling station. We had other ones. We had Wando. We had all of those companies that were, you would go to a fuel station, and in some places their prices is good. It might be 60, it might be 65. In some places it's 68 naira. I'm just trying to go back to when we had fuel selling at about 60 naira to a liter. Even at that time, with subsidy, we had an increase. There was no year that fuel pump price wouldn't go high. It went from 60 to 70 to 80 at some time, at some point. And I can remember my mom lamenting concerning what she was going to get and all of that. And we saw how it jumped from even during the Goodluck administration, we had the fuel pump price go increasing. The only difference is that it's growing at a slow rate. It's not as fast as what we are experiencing now. Now, why I want to cast our mind back to the fact that even when we paid subsidy, fuel pump price kept on increasing, is that talk more of now that we have said subsidy is no longer being paid as a country. The hike in fuel pump price will be more outrageous than what we have. The point is, even if we were still paying subsidy for petrol and we are floating our currency and our exchange rate now is standing as high as 1,400 to about 1,500, we will see a drastic increase in fuel pump price even with subsidy. Will it get to 900 to 1,000? Definitely no. But what we have started the administration before now will definitely be different, because we have two economic policies that directly affect each other being implemented, and that is why we are where we are right now. And it is kind of funny for me, or hilarious in a lot of ways, to see the reps coming out to tell the government to reverse the fuel pump price. And then the question is, how are they going to do it? Why are we not addressing the real matters and the real issue of the day? Be it minority, why was everybody quiet? Why wasn't there a call on Mr. President, regardless of his egocentric nature, to not go back on certain policies? Why wasn't there a foot being put on ground saying, you know what, Mr. President, you cannot do this now, and even if you do this, you have to do this alongside? Why wasn't that? Because you stand on something until it changes. But we kept on saying give time, and there are policies that doesn't need time for you to know if it's going to be favorable or not. If it will favor you, you will know that a week later. If it will favor you, you will know that a day later. If it will favor you, you will know that few months later. And we won't have to be where we are, because we know that certain policies cannot coexist. So why didn't you stand your ground to say we have to go back on this? Why would we just sit down and say let's give time to what we know time cannot mend? And now all of a sudden everybody is sounding like they do not know the underworkings of certain things when it comes to petrol, when it comes to what we are going through right now in the country as it is now. It's more about just telling Nigerians to brace themselves for more hardship. Because until our currency is fixed, even if we start paying subsidy, fuel pump price will still be very high, looking at its landing cost at the moment. And the question is, like, looking at how the government have diverted funds to different things, can they go back to paying subsidy? These are all questions you need to ask. And if they begin to pay at the detriment of what other sectors suffer, should we? Let's have this running first. Then you can do that. Well, Mr. President, since you're no longer paying subsidy, you need to take back the floating of our currency. And you stand on those grounds, because we can see the repercussion now. They can't reverse the fuel pump price. How would they do that? Like, how are they going to do that? That is the question you should ask. Is it important? It's not. It means paying subsidy. And we have an administration that is telling you, you know what, we are not going to pay subsidy, because subsidy was the only thing that gave the government control over the price of petrol.
Of course, because we're thinking alike, because just like you were saying, at this point in time, there's nothing the government can do about that. Just like you said, if only we had at least one refinery functioning. It's more like you going ahead to pay for a good. You're not even sure if that goods that will be delivered or not. And this is what the government did. And I'm hoping, or we were hoping, and that is why we keep calling on the fact that if only every arm of government really know their responsibility, will not be where we are presently. God will have been expecting, the legislature, you are the lawmakers, for Christ's sake. You are the lawmakers. So who makes certain laws that are being implemented? Of course, I know that there's certain right that the executive have, that they can go ahead to do certain things without consulting you. But how many of those bills can they actually go ahead without actually consulting you? So just like you're saying, Right now, it's too late to cry over a spilled over milk because I mean it's gone and it's gone, and there's little or nothing you can do about it except if you're intending to put so much pressure on the federal government to do something, especially concerning the refining. We're doing a countdown last week and we're saying that right now nothing is happening.
Yes.
Nobody is coming out to explain the reason why is the Port Harcourt refinery not functioning. And I clearly remember we discussed this when the Port Harcourt refinery was going to start functioning from the very beginning. We said we hope that the government is not going to rely on this only refinery because the consumption of petrol in Nigeria, we know how much we consume on a daily basis. It affects everything directly. Right now, coming out to say that they should go back, I mean, I think the minority really, really need to go back and think again what are they saying concerning this. But then until we see what the way forward is, we'll keep our fingers crossed and hoping that something positive will come out of this. Now we're seeing, even as much as we're talking about something positive coming out of it, we're seeing one of the officials of the NNPC coming out to say, you know what, brace up. There's going to be more scarcity. I just can't help but wonder exactly where are we going in this country with this. I mean, just when Nigerians were hoping that, you know, NNPC will come to give us hope, but we just woke up this morning with this interview where we had one of the officials coming out to state the fact that, you know, scarcity of food is imminent and therefore everybody needs to brace up. And if they're telling Nigerians to brace up, what do you want them to do at this point in time? Bringing out the fact that they did not choose to be the sole distributors of petrol. And I remember Kerry mentioning that initially that they're trying to open the market for competitions and all of that. And we cannot see that because we all know that there's only one group that brings in fuel into the country, and of course that is NNPCL. But where does that leave us? With the debts on their head, with the money that is needed to come in, you already touched that concerning the fact that even if we're to go back on fuel subsidy, which sector is going to suffer for us to be able to pay that? We don't even have the money. We're borrowing left, right, and center. The third highest owing World Bank. You know what that entails for us as a country. So right now, I do not know where it is. It seems as if there's no hope coming up for Nigerians. But it is what it is, because if this is coming from the NNPCL, that is to say they see what is coming for Nigerians.
So whether we like it or not, we have an administration that has already betrayed Nigerians on a lot of levels. So far, so good. 1 year is good enough to know if an administration is going to favor you or not, or if it's going to be good. And the fact that it is renewed hope with a lot of deceit, it's alarming and it's concerning. We can look around everything concerning fuel in this country, and for an oil producing country, it's sad because first of all, we are not even meeting our target for oil revenue because our production per day has not been met. The quota, we are not meeting it. So in as much as the price per barrel is going high, as OPEC has planned to do it, it is beginning to yield certain results. It has gone high. There was a time barrel was as low as 60, 70, but ever since it went as high as 80, we're looking at 84 to some point 87. It has not gone below 80. So we can see OPEC's policy working in terms of increasing the price per barrel of crude oil. But when we are struggling with producing 1.2 million, 1.3, we made 1.5 once, and we're still yet to. Our initial quota was 1.8. Then OPEC cut it down to 1.5, and still we couldn't make it to 1.5. And we've had Mele Kyari for many years saying we are going to do 2 million barrels per day. We are going to produce, and we have not even met our OPEC quota and all of that. Now, the number one deceit, first of all, is creating a budget on an estimate of a revenue that will come from fuel, from petrol production, from crude oil production, without you putting the things in place to meet that target. That's already a lie of a government, and it's not fair to Nigerian citizens. Now we can move past that and go further to subsidy removal. And where we are having this scarcity, we are having this scarcity because NNPCL is not affording to import in the amount is expected to import into the country. That is what, because they have confessed to owing. And we know that when you owe your debtors, there's a way things are being done. You can't, there is a point when you reach, you can't access certain funds anymore for you to keep. So they're in the position where they need to clear and they need to have to import. And they don't have to clear, neither do they have to import. So it's all these money issues around that we're having this scarcity. There's a breach in supply, because now we cannot have the quantity we need coming in due to all of this financial crisis in the NNPCL. Now, why are we having a financial crisis when we have claimed that subsidy is gone, and we were boldly told by the NNPCL boss that we are saving 400 billion every month just as a result of no longer paying subsidy anymore? Where are these funds? They are supposed to amount to trillions and trillions of naira by now, since fuel subsidy was removed by President Tinubu. Where are these funds? Why are you having this much debt? Why is there money to pay? Wasn't there budget for importation and all of that into the country? Because for the oil, for the money that is generated from crude oil, we already know where it's going to. It's in the budget to finance every other thing in the country. But what about this revenue? Are we even saving this money at all? Is subsidy really gone?
I think that's the question.
So these are the diseases around that Nigerians don't even know where to go to, where to stand, and how to go about it. And when NNPCL is saying we should brace ourselves, is because that is the reality. Because we are getting into 2 months of fuel scarcity, and it doesn't look like it's getting any better. The news every day is fuel pump price increasing rather than it being available and then crashing down the price of petrol in the market. So yes, we rather than false hope, rather have NLC, rather than threatening the government and saying, you know what, reverse the fuel pump price, because we know it's not going to happen, rather than having reps minority calling the federal government to reverse it. I think this coming from the NPCL is more of the factual reality of Nigerians, that you know what, there's going to be more scarcity, and you automatically know what it means. It's inflation, it means the standard of living going, it means that the 70,000 minimum wage is back to 20,000 naira as a value of what you'll be able to get.
No longer even 30,000 naira minimum.
No, the value for that 70,000 naira right now, so there's almost like
10,000 naira.
Exactly, that's where we are right now.
Very true, because it's just 10,000 naira, because you can actually see the fact that when you get this money, you just enter any Nigerian market and then tell me what you're able to purchase. The purchasing power is no longer there. Naira is as weak as anything. We saw that the lowest in 6 months that we've ever had. And it breaks my heart, because Richard said we love it, the fact that the NNPCL is truthful about the matter. But I have a problem where we say NNPCL talking and then the federal government talking as if they are 2 different entities.
Yes, that's a problem.
Well, Nigeria knows that you are one and the same.
Yes.
Just like a question you asked, is fuel subsidy really gone? I think this is the question. If we get the answer to that, we'll be able to fix other pieces of the puzzle, because this whole thing is confusing. We saw women like saying technically gone. Sorry, we saw our finance minister rather saying it's technically gone. Now we want an explanation. What do you mean technically? Because a layman just wants to understand what you mean by it being technical. Is it just on papers? But you're still paying?
Oh, you're still paying.
Because this is what it entails. If you are saving, how comes you're still owing? Where are you? The money that was meant to be used to pay for fuel subsidy, what are you doing with it? And here we're having the government purchasing airplanes. And you ask, where did you get the money? Is this a top priority right now? And just like you said, this is the seed on Nigerians, and it's not fair for people who queue up under the rain, under the sun, making sure that, you know what, let us just exercise our own duty. And then here we are having leaders not even caring in any way about what is happening to, because sometimes you just can't help but wonder, are you really going to the market to actually get this for yourself? Maybe if you are, you will know what Nigerians are going through. But it seems you have a reservoir somewhere that when your car is down, You get to fuel it, and then you do not even know what the Nigerians are actually going through. And knowing that we're having so many allegations coming, we remember that of the Malta issue,
Yes,
and all of that.
that's a
I think
fact.
that
Yes.
we're still yet to get answers to that. That story has been swept under the carpet as far as we're concerned. So quite a number of conversation. Well, I just think that just like we said, our work here, as I keep saying, we are the fourth arm. So
Yeah.
whether the government accepts us or not, we are, and it is our responsibility to give hope to Nigerians. But we hope that our leaders will do right by its
I hope
people.
so.
We know you cannot reverse the price, but we know there's something you can do as well to help Nigerians to be able to pass through this. Because what this implies is that we saw the issue of inflation coming in, more people losing their jobs, more poverty rate increasing for Nigerians. So it's a lot of things as it is presently. But we'll just hope that they will do right by us eventually, Rachel. So thank you so much for doing
You're
this with
welcome,
me.
Sally.
Thank you as well to our supporters. Thank you also to every other person who made this program a success. Until we do come your way again tomorrow, do have a wonderful day ahead.